Hey guys, let me just set up here, and then we'll be good to go. Let's make sure that we got this down with the camera and the audio, and we're good to go. So you just want to do that. Go there and go. Up there for sure. It does. Give me 1 second, guys. We're ready to rock and roll. Good morning, everybody. This is the crypto flavor of the week. This Octo looks like it's going to be on absolute fire. Not really much more to say about it, but it's going to be, the crypto name of the week. So you might want to watch this one today. It looks like it's going to be really, really goofy. I'll just leave it at that. So let's start looking at the ES while we get going here. And let me drop this. There we go. Okay. And I will try to get to everybody today. We got a lot going on here. Like a lot. So I'd watch 6,500 like a hawk. I go through my levels here, it's pretty obvious where we're at, right? So you can see the big drop from that 945, and then just from there it was just on. So if we just mark that off, we can see like how that was our, that was our nemesis, that area. So that's really the area that we have to watch again today and see how we act at that. You're wedged. I think it's going to be more individual names than anything else. I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. I don't think we should be looking at it from a different perspective, but individual names. So I really do think that. I think that you're in a stock picker market. So watch the 6,500 here. You have PPI coming out before CPI, which is really kind of cool. That's very helpful. You can see the 830 Wick City here from the non-farm payrolls, right? Okay, and we can see how that's becoming an issue. So that is definitely something that's on our radar. And I don't know that you're going to go anywhere until we have more data. And go from there. What is the problem here? Off background music, 27. Thank you, John. That's what happens when I don't have the mic on. Hold on. Let's put this speaker on. There it goes. Oh, man, that's annoying as all hell, isn't it? All right. Sorry, guys. Let's start over. Good morning. All right. This Octo is your new BMNR SBET flavor of the day. I'm not going to get into what this is, but you've got a ton of volume going on here, like a ton of volume going on here. I do read your comments on the videos. Saturday's video, I got asked for a bunch of topics on options to taxes. I am not a tax accountant, like at all. So my experience with that stuff is just hire the best. What I'm going to do as I will find somebody. Thank you, John, for doing it that way, because that's what got my attention, the 27 DMs. What I'm going to do with that, I always want to touch base on that. And you do want to watch that Octo today. It's going to be crazy. I have a position in this Octo. We bought a position in this thing early this morning. I'm just going to show you this so that you get it. So it could be like a BMNR. I'll give you this. Hold on. So like the way they're evaluating it, this determines percentage. It's a calculation. It's my volume scan, but like this stuff, the market cap doesn't make any sense. If they're going to inject this amount of money into it, they're talking about injecting like $250 million into it. It makes no sense where this thing is. So keep that in mind. That's how I say it. So let's get back to this and the market. So this is where we fell down. This is your 839 farm level, and this is where we're at, right? And these are the things that we have to, pay attention to. Let me just drop this in the futures room. But we bought this thing at like 6 and change. I'm already up 100% in it. This thing's gonna be a freaking monster today, dude. Like monster. Look at this thing go. Look at me. I don't even know how to lose. It's crazy. Like, I don't even know how. How do you lose? I don't know. I don't even know. You know what's crazy? I have an order up here and it just stopped dead there. And it's not a sell order. It's a buy order, because if it flips there, it's going to move in multiples, and it just stopped there. There you go. This thing's going to go. Watch this thing go now. See it? Because you can figure, I'm not going to get into it all, but you can figure when that's going to happen. You can do it through fib levels, like where those buy pushes are going to be. Give me a second here. How are you going to lose? I don't know. Can't lose watching this. I'll tell you that right now. How about we buy more? How about that? Give me a second here, guys. I feel like the Eagles, I'm just so busy winning. Imagine being a Cowboys fan. Could you even imagine being a Cowboys fan? Like, Jesus. Give me 1 second, guys. So, all right, see how this goes here. All right, where were we? Sorry. So even the double I just did there, I doubled it. Look, even that I'm already up in. I'm gonna have to trim some eventually. Bum, 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 bum. They're going to buy this thing. I'll show you. They're going to buy this thing. The whole thing's stupid. I'm just going to make money off of it. Like I'm not. They're going to buy WorldCoin. They're going to become the WorldCoin treasury. Just understand what they're doing. So, all right. ES. So just watch these levels here. NQ. Very similar. I'm looking at this. Mm-hmm. You're still over that range. Let me pop this in real quick. Bear with me. All right, cool. So, man, that thing moved like a mofo. I'm going a lot higher, I think. All right. What else do I really want to go over with you guys? Oracle, I think, is super interesting. You've got some levels in here that I think are really important. The most important one that I'd pay attention to is just I'll show you. Your 55 right here. If you get over that 55, which it looks like you're going to today, 236, and you close over that, a lot of these people sold this name based upon, NVIDIA's on the data center side. So they're going to be looking at playing Oracle now. And you're seeing the memory names really move, like the STX, the WDC, like these things are moving. So I would expect that to continue. I think that's super important. Oracle tomorrow night can reset the landscape of AI CapEx spending, hands down. There's no doubt about it. So we'll get to that. But we'll get to that. Let me just go through this and see where we're at. So I really want to go through that. Let's go through the Qs real quick. 580 is your level here. Just watch 580. I mean, I'm going to save you a bunch of time, like a bunch of time. Watch 580. You're having a real tough time with this. I'm looking more at areas than anything else, but like right in here, you're having a really heck of a time. Like you're hitting it hard. So it's a whole area in here, but it's really that 580 and the 71 you need to hold on to. So, there are your real levels there on the cues. That's really what you need to watch there. Let me just go here and just go, 580 is that, level you got to watch. And then 571, and you can go to either one of those today. You can go to either one of those today. Let's look at the SPY and do that. I think you're in the same thing with the 650 here. That's 652. I don't know that you're going to get to that 635. That's a drop and a half, man. I think these little wicks right here are super important. 643.30. And that's really how I see that. I think you're going to rotate. Like I did this in Saturday's video. I think this is super important. Let's do it. So see how you're flatlining? I think you're just going to rotate through these sectors. I think that's what you're going to do. You're that octal. Congrats, guys. Music on, boomer, music on, boomer. Boom, boom, boom. I love days like this when people are like, oh, there's nothing going on. I'm waiting for CPI. And then wham, you get octoed. SPY 34. Yeah, I think you're on the right spot there. So I think something like RH is super interesting going into earnings, because I think even if they're bad, that's the bottom. Like that's really how I'm viewing that. Like even if they're bad, I think they're going to be good. I don't know how else to say it. But even if they're bad, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to put in like a workday kind of bottom is where my head is, John. Like see how the workday put in the bottom right here? I really think that that's what you should like. See how CRM, like I actually was short and I even like didn't listen to my own advice where I said, that's probably going to be the bottom on it. And it's the bottom. So yeah, definitely something there. The RH, you're going to see a huge housing boom. They're going to go buy houses. They're going to need furniture. They're going to go buy that really nice chair. I totally believe that. MUW pattern. MU is going to go a lot higher, I think. I really think that this can go a lot higher. If you really, first you have a cup and handle. Second, if you really listen to what's going on here with like that and SanDisk, man, like these things can motor. So you're switching from compute to connectivity. I don't want to bore everybody with it this morning, but that's what's happening. Happy Monday. So Micron can go higher. Bill, I can go through real quick. I say it. It's not my favorite idea. I get it. What's up, Mitch? So BA, I think that the industrials are not the way to go right now because of the dollar. I don't think we know what's going to happen with the dollar and the Supreme Court cases. So I don't know, bro. What's up, Kev? I'll be up there in October, it looks like. I thought I might go sooner, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. They had a great quarter. They absolutely crushed. I don't really have much to say about them. I don't know that this is the one that I would play because it moves so much. But clearly, they're all over it. Oracle, I own a lot of Oracle. I own a lot of calls, so my delta is expanding as it's like going into it. But I also own stock, and I bought more stock this morning. So I think that could just be a monster quarter. Like if you're wondering how this is going to go, you never know how the stock's going to move on a quarter. You just don't know. You could have a great quarter and you can fall apart. It has happened, and it will happen again to you. I'd go back and re-listen to this conference call. If you want to understand how this should go, listen to this conference call. So, I mean, you really came down to that level. Like, look at this. So this was day 2 of that. You really came down to there and you held. So that's really how I see that. I like Oracle a lot going into the quarter. Beautiful moon last night. Happy Monday. Cruxus is the place to be. The tanker space, are they on fire? Are they? Wow, they are, dude. Nice call. You know, that does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? The war ends, tanker demand starts increasing. Makes a lot of sense, dude. Makes a ton of sense, actually. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. I can see this. I can see why this would happen. Bum, 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 bum. It's the tankers, not the shippers. Right? Let's see if we can find the right one here. It's always such a pain in the butt. Maybe it's just my shipper. But what's the BDI look like? The Baltic Dry Index. Yeah, prices are tightening. So they're expecting the war to end. This is how much it costs to ship like a tanker. Just think of it, or ship a container. Just think of it that way. It's easier. Well, I think that you're on the right spot with like the W's and the Z's. I do. I think you're in the right spot there. I think all those names can go a lot higher. I really do, because you're going to need furniture for all these new houses. I know people moving and refinancing, honey-do lists, all kinds of stuff. They still say honey-do lists. The wolf seems to have run out, but you have this flag that's building, but I don't know that that's the one you really want to focus on. Hood, you got added, so everyone's giddy. You know, these trades are happening a lot faster. I'd probably fade it on the news more than anything. ASTS got hit on and this is like getting killed. It really got hit on the SATS news. That SATS news is something I can't really get into all of it right now, but this is definitely something that you want to watch here. Like, there's no doubt about it. You definitely want to pay attention to it. So you have a nice support coming in right on this level. You can already see how it's like developing right around there, that 78 to 80 range. You know, you're getting that support level in here. So that's probably going to continue. It's definitely something to pay attention to for sure. And let's see what we have here. You know what? Give me a second here. I got to go do this really quickly. I need to put one of these in here and just go here and go. Give me 1 second, guys. I can hear this damn alarm going off. And it's going to bother me. Let me just show this on the bottom. I'll be right back. I got to go turn this off. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Sorry, if I kept listening to that, it was going to drive me nuts. I have alarms set throughout the house for different times just to remind me of things. So I apologize. What else we got here? This is really bad for them, I think. I think it's worse than we think it is because I can't even rally. Like, I can't even rally to key levels. So I guess because SpaceX is in your house now with SATS. The SATS news is really good for them, and it really should put some kind of, floor in here on this name. And I think that that's how that's really where I see the floor right now. That's really how I see that area. I do. I think that that's one of the things. Like, you want to read this. They got $9 billion or $8.5 billion in cash and $8.5 billion in SpaceX stock. So this is a really big deal for them. So, that's how I say it. And see how that plays out for them. But I think it's going to play out pretty good. TEM super interesting because you're getting a lot of buying in the TEM's interesting. You're getting a lot of healthcare buying. And if you had to think about which way to go with your healthcare buying, that's how you want to go with it. So this is how you want to go with it. To me, this is how you want to go with it. Like, if you're thinking that you have to be in healthcare, I mean, UNH is super interesting too, because you finally did it. Like, UNH finally got above that area right here. So, you can really push here finally. No one cared that they have a second, criminal investigation. I guess it's not a big deal, whatever. But that's, to me, if I wanted to be in healthcare, I'd be looking at this if I wanted to be in that space. And you're getting tighter and tighter since it came out. So I think, again, that's super important, where these lows are getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So, eventually it does give, it does push. And I think it's definitely worth paying attention to. Yeah, I do. I definitely think that's worth paying attention to. So let's go through these names. What's up, Troy? AVGO I like, but I think you're a little toppy until that settles in. Hood, I wouldn't go near. PLTR, Oracle I like. The PLTR, I think you have to be super careful of. You're wedged in here between this 150 and 160, and until you figure out what you're going to do, I would be leaning towards you have a problem here because you finally closed below the 55. But you've really been holding these areas here. I've got this all marked off on here, I think. Let's go to this. So you've really been holding this area in here. And I would, I would definitely pay attention to that, where, let me just change the colors of this because it'll bother me. The fact that you closed below the 55 bothers me. The fact that this closed below the 55 bothers me. Like, this bothers me. Like, it's a big deal to me that this did this. So really, for me, when I see this kind of stuff, yeah, it becomes a problem. So it's an issue. And you saw it with Microsoft too, right? Like, that really is setting up to come in hard. So I don't know, man. We'll see how this goes. But, other than that, I don't really think there's much for me to, to say or do. But I really, I don't know. When I look at something like this, it's definitely it's definitely scary from a market perspective, because I'm like, man, can these other names, like the Reddits of the world, can they really hold us? And yeah, it seems like they're going to, or the IRENs. Like, there's so many names that are so interesting here, but this Reddit, man, I think everyone's starting to realize that these large language models are just basically like Reddit regurgitators. And you can certainly see it with the new Chat GPT 5. Like, it's crazy. I don't know why they went backwards. The 4 was so much better. Organic from Thailand. I got to figure out where I'm going. I'm going to do one road trip before the boomer music, boomer. I know. I'm good trying for that 8. Thanks, Jim. Happy Monday. All you have to do is hit the like button. So simple. I got a lot of requests for a live action figure. That will not be happening. That can go. It's setting up nicely. Donnie, I really like the TEM here. I'm not doing anything with PLTR because I think you're in a range until it figures out what it wants to do. Yeah, I mean, we nailed this thing. And I think it's going to push. It depends on how they structure that private equity deal. Like it really depends how they structure it. So if they structure it 1-for-1, you're still going to get a much different market cap, but it's going to be dilutive. If it's like 10-for-1 or warrants or whatever they do with it, like, you could be looking at another BMNR. So, and it's a stupid coin, but it doesn't matter. Like what they're putting in doesn't matter. It's just a function of, does it hold any value? And, for now, like there's just really nothing to, to do with this thing. The way you always have to play these things is you have to get up and in, and then you can scale into them like I did. And then when you get out, you just get out. Like you don't never go back to them. Like going back to them is like the kiss of death. So you just want to get up and in, and this is the type of thing that has like a couple day run, really. So we'll see what it does. Yeah, I don't know how you do it. I don't know. What's up, Tone? Yeah, I mean, can it keep going? It can. I don't think it's the one to play. It doesn't really matter what I think because retail wants to play it, so they're going to play it. You're about 200% now off your 50-day moving average. Like you're just waiting for a day where this thing's going to get smoked. It's just a matter of time. And that's when I would look at it. People are like, no, it's not going to happen. Like you have a company that's never made money. Maybe they figured out this time, maybe not, but you've had plenty of chances when this thing gets back to that 12, plenty of chances when it gets back to the 22. So if I really wanted to buy it, that's really how I would look at it. I'd wait for it to fall out of favor again, like it did in here, or like how it did in here. And then I would get involved. That's how I look at it, but I wouldn't be in a huge hurry there. So, that's how I say it. You just have to size accordingly. Like that's the way to play that stuff. You have to just size accordingly. You have to basically size, like, I don't care if it goes back to 3 because I only have X% of it. But if you understood why it's doing what it's doing, like they're going to inject that amount of capital into it. Like this all boils down to like the fundamentals of it, right? If you understood how much capital they're actually injecting into the thing, they're basically just taking a shell. That's all they're really doing. No different than BMNR or the other ones. And then the question just becomes, how much of a discount to that 250 do you put on it, right? So like, let's say they dilute it by half. Then you would just go out there and go, okay, well, where is, like, let's just say if you went out there and said, okay, well, let's say they're going to dilute it by half, just like devil's advocate, right? So you would go out there and go, I'll do it real quick. So let's say you dilute it by half. Hold on. So you would just go, all right, so Octo market cap. Let me just do the math real quick, and I'll show you how to do this. So like if 125 M market cap, just price pop it in. Let me just see if I can figure it out real quick. So you'd be looking at like, so here's the way to look at it. Say that it's dilutive. So they're injecting 250 into it, right? So say that you're going to get 2 shares for every $1 that you put into this private placement. It puts the stock at like $41. So if you say, I'm going to get 4 shares for every one I put in this private placement, it puts you at 22. So if you're going to get one share and you look at it that way, well, that puts it at 80. So that's why it's moving the way. Now, eventually you're going to find out what it is, and it's either going to go up or down violently. So the goal is to get into it and then go from there. But if you did the math that way and you said, okay, well, the private placement is going to be like 4 shares for every dollar that you put into this private placement, right? Something like that, plus the warrant kicker, something. All right, that's $22. Okay. If it's 2 to 1, you're at 41. If it's 1 to 1, you're at 80. So what you're doing is you're just skewing it and saying, all right, well, let's say it's 2 to 1. Well, $40 is 2 to 1. So, if it gets there, I probably want to not be in all of that. I probably want to get out of some of it, right? And then kind of go from there. So that's how you're guessing what the private placement is going to look at. But you have to say to yourself, it's not $7. It's not. So, and then it's a question of what do they put in it and everything else. But that's how I view it anyway. So, we'll see what happens with it. But that's how you have to view them. I don't think it's great for ASTS at all. Like, I think it's a real problem. I don't know if it's $36, it's a problem. Do you know what I mean? But it's definitely a problem. So, yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Can that really happen? Can they even do? That's what I'm thinking too. Can they even do what they do? Sometimes this stuff works out where you get like a huge discount. I do think this is setting up. Oscar people like. Reddit just looks like it's just going to keep going. Len. Yeah, I do think you want to look at some of these names and then kind of figure it out and see what they're going to do and kind of go from there. I do think that's definitely something. LDI, I do think is a better opportunity. I think Rockets is too. You just, what you're doing is you're just playing musical chairs. You just don't want to be there when the music stops on this thing. This thing has always been, it's going to be this cash cow. They're going to buy and sell properties. Like, that is very hard to scale. Good morning. All right, I am out of here. Make good choices.